What's up, Stitt-Heads? You know that noise. Crack the beer. We're gonna have a good time. It's normally it's a Sunday fun day, but it's a 4 day weekend for me technically. So it's a Monday fun day, and we're gonna have some fun discussions with my guest tonight. It's Stein from the Tribe of the Greyhorn Pod. Gah, Tribe of the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. That's a mouthful, brother. Um,
Yeah, I know.
but either way, I'm gonna let him tell us a little bit about himself, and then we're gonna roll into a fun conversation that might get a little uncomfortable for some people, but hey, we're just having conversations and seeing where it goes. So, what's up, brother? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Enough. I mean, first of all, thanks for having me, especially on such short notice. Yeah, Stein Fox is the internet name that I've been going by for the last, I don't know, 13, 15 years. I am the host of the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. I decided for the podcast I should like kind of shorten it because, as you said, like Tribe of the Greyhorn Pagans podcast, it's a freaking mouthful. Ain't nobody's gonna remember that.
Right, I talk too fast anyway, so it'll turn into a mush mouth real quick.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I've been doing podcasting for the last, geez, what is it? 4 or 5 years.
Hmm.
I think, learned a lot in those years. I want to say learned more from podcasting and just talking with, different people and amazing people and, doing my homework on certain topics than I really ever did in school. Um, and I thought today we kind of go into hero worship because as I started doing my research about it, man, this goes deeper and further than you might imagine, and it's not just something of modern times where everyone is looking for their savior. And I mean, no offense to all the good Christian Americans,
Hmm.
but the second coming of Christ is not what you think. As I've said a few times before, he's not gonna like literally come down from the heavens and be like, "What's up, bitches? I'm here to fix all the shit."
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, it'd be fucking awesome though if that were the case. But unfortunately, you can wait a very long time for that. Um, so yeah, hero worship. Um, it's real. Like where it starts is really with childhood. Like it is hardwired, in us as human beings, as children, because you admire your parents, of course. Like your parents are your heroes. Um, especially as a man, like your dad is your hero, of course, because he's grown up and he takes care of you, takes care of mom, and takes care of your siblings if you have them. You look up to your teachers because boy, they know everything, and you know they have studied for years and years to be able to teach me. I mean, little do you know at that age, of course. And yeah, I mean, easiest of all, superheroes.
Hmm.
I'm a father myself, and especially my son, 7-year-old son, love him to bits. He has very often said that when he grows up, he wants to be or like wants to become Spider-Man.
Right.
Because, I mean, of course you do. When you're 7 years old, you want to be or become that
It was the Green Power
superhero.
Ranger for me when I was a kid, so I know exactly what you're saying.
That's
You know, yeah,
badass. That's
yeah.
badass. Yeah, man. No, but because to you, your parents, your teachers, superheroes, whatever, they embody perfection even, which is crazy to think about, like especially when you become a parent yourself. It's like perfection? Oh hell no. Like I'm still just trying.
Hmm.
I'm 33 years old. I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
I'm gonna be 36 in a month and a half, and it's kind of like, hey, holy shit! Like 3 kids later, and married, and the house, and all that. You're like, when did adulthood happen? Like, you know what I mean? It's like nobody really like
Yeah.
warned you. It just happens.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. And it's also so funny, like at a young age, you're like, oh, adults and parents, they have their shit together, and it's like, no, no, they really don't.
Hmm.
And it's always, they embody perfection as, like we all have people that we look up to, like as podcasters, we have like other podcasters that we look up to, and I'm sure, you know, so many of us like had the thought or had the idea, like, if, oh man, if I can only be like half as good as they are, I'd be so happy. Like if I would pull half the numbers they do, if I would get like just half the views that they do, that'd be just absolutely perfect. Which is, a very adaptive mechanism, of course, it's comforting. It brings self-esteem. And like I've definitely got um, you know, some things from the some examples from the past, because this goes so far back, and I'm starting with the ancient Greeks,
Hmm.
Hellenics. They already had their form of hero worship. I mean, shit, their whole legacy, their whole mythology is really based around, the gods and heroes of old. But the main difference is that they didn't worship their heroes like themselves, like Heracles, or Hercules, as he's better known. They didn't like worship Hercules. They worshipped or venerated, his deeds, the
What he
things that,
represented. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, what he represented, what he had done. They aspired to be like Hercules so that they can do the things that he did. Or, guys like Alexander the Great, for example, great, great general, great mind. And, they worshipped or they admired his boldness. They admired his brilliant mind. So, like, they admired the aspects that made them so great. Like, they didn't worship Alexander the Great as a god. It's what he did, it's what he represented. And this is also, in contrast to the Catholics, for examples, because they their veneration is more like ideals of virtue.
Like saints,
Um,
like how people, they remember the saints for the actions they took to whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I've often said that Catholicism is basically paganism.
Well, I
They,
mean, Catholicism's kind of halfway a cult also, but go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, no, no,
Depending on how far you
absolutely.
want to take it.
Yeah, no, oh God, don't I know it? I know some good Catholics,
Mhm.
but it's something for another time, perhaps.
Right. People can be good people, but yeah, yeah. Sometimes ideologies can be like, whoa, that's a little weird. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And even the ancient Nordics, my people. I'm Dutch myself, so the Germanics, the Nordics, the
Hmm.
Frisians. That's all my heritage. They saw their gods as heroes. You know, but it was more of the same sort of worship and admiration as the Hellenics had. So, worshiping their deeds, worshiping, what they did and who they are. That's, where our stories come from. That's how our stories are built. And that's also the great part about how I practice my faith, really. It's non-dogmatic, so there isn't like a set, um, like there aren't set rules of which I, need to live by. We don't have a pagan
Code
Bible.
or a creed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there are some things that are expected
Hmm.
of you. let's say that, but um, we don't have something like the Ten Commandments, for example. What we have are the stories of our gods, the stories of our heroes, and we're supposed to follow that example, if you will,
Sure.
to live a good life, be a good man, be a good husband, and all of that. You should be like Thor, or you should be like Odin if you want to, gather true knowledge, true wisdom. So yeah, and from the Greeks, from the Hellenics, it's of course a very easy trip to. Well, I mean, your background's very fitting to ancient Rome, and the imperial cults, because that was one of the examples that I already gave you over Instagram DM. The God Emperor, um, which is a thing of many religions, many peoples. I think about all ancient people really had their form of the God Emperor. I know that in the Nordic countries, the king, the royal house was said to be, descendant of Odin, descendant of the Most High God. You of course had what is it? I mean, the was it the Mayans or Incas who like also believed that their leader was a descendant of the gods, or
Descendants.
really
Yeah. Right.
was a god in himself, or imbued with a divine spirit.
Part of a, yeah, a lost lineage kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for
I mean, not
example.
completely lost, but it's still a ruling class, is what I kind of mean. So, like, that's why there's less of them, but they're of such importance.
Yeah, exactly, because they are divine, or they are like literally related to the divine. They can trace their lineage back to, whatever
Hmm.
high god there may be. A good example of that is also Egypt, where the king or the pharaoh was mostly, I believe, seen as a god, and was at the same time the high priest of the temple, although that may have been later on with the Egyptian dynasties. I don't believe that is how it started. But yeah, the imperial cult of Rome, that's where really the blending of political power with religious significance started, something that many Americans may be familiar with.
Hmm.
Um, but the formal worship of their emperors, of their Caesar, their Kaiser, only began with Augustus, who allowed temples to be dedicated to him during his lifetime still
And
in
Augustus and Julius were brothers, correct?
I am not up on my Roman history, but I believe they are two different time periods.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay. I thought
I
they were
mean,
like related in some way or whatever. So, anyways, continue though.
if you believe the God Emperor thing, then yeah, of course they were related, because they are of divine stock. Um, but yeah, and it was also later that he was declared Divi Filius, or son of God. So not, fully divine yet, but definitely of divinity,
Okay, he's
almost
that
like,
half man, half God kind of thing. Yeah.
um,
I mean, maybe
yeah,
not
I
completely,
guess.
but you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah, yeah,
closer
yeah.
than most modern man would be.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, son of God, or son of a God, sounds really like a Jesus figure to
True. Yeah.
me. But it wasn't until Julius Caesar, after his assassination in 44 AD, 44 BC, 44 at least.
Uh-huh.
Um, I believe BC, that he was officially declared a god. Like he was truly the first one that received apotheosis, as they call it, that he was elevated to a god, really.
Hmm.
So he was the Deus Julius. He was the divine Julius. He was the god Julius. And really
It
from
was
that
44
moment,
BC, like you said. Yeah.
yeah, BC, yeah. And apotheosis, or the elevation to godhood, usually was done posthumously, so after death, and by the by all the politicians, of course. Politicians are politicians, they do what they do. It's really a thing of all ages, as I've
Mhm.
also noticed. Um, and the Emperor Diocletian, he really, really ramped it up with the god thing. Like he even demanded that the people bow to him like a ritual bow, like you would bow to a god. And that was like in his lifetime. So proskynesis, that is called in Latin. It is a ritual bow like you would do in a temple before an altar, but you had to do it before him, before the Roman emperor. Um, and that also kind of makes me think. I mean, this is not something I've written down, but just what comes to mind. Like in Japan, they still have that, for example, where they
Yeah.
where they bow to each other, and the um, it's funny. The higher rank the other person is, the deeper you have to bow.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so it's like for the king, for example, you'd have to go like almost freaking 90 degrees.
Almost kissing the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, he but because he is the king, it's still a sign of respect to bow, but he could like just do with a head nod, for example,
Just
because
hopefully you don't bow too much, it turns into a ditty party, but
Oh
who's in
God.
front and who's behind? But anyways, yeah, dude, it is an
Oh,
interesting thing that like you said, that respect, that class system almost of like the bowing. And there's a sign of respect, but there's also a sign of like, okay, like I am, if you don't bow, I can chop your head off, basically. Like I'm in charge. Is
yeah.
that kind of what like the punishment was if you didn't bow?
I mean, in ancient Rome, they got very creative, of course, but yeah,
Oh yeah.
I do imagine like Roman emperors, they are known for their cruelty.
For
So yeah,
examples.
I definitely say that, if you didn't do as was asked, that you wouldn't do it a second time. Let's say that.
Might not have a chance to do it a second time. Yeah.
No, no, definitely not. No, they wouldn't grant you that chance. And also what he did, like he went all out for everything imperial, so everything that he was in control of. He adopted the term sacrum, or sacred.
Okay.
So like everything he did, everything that was his, everything that he ruled over was sacred, because he already saw himself as this divine figure, which is crazy to think. Like, think of the ruling class doing that now, like really calling everything that they own sacred, and therefore
Yeah.
you can touch it.
Right. No kidding.
I mean, they already kind of do that in a way. It's just nowadays it's money, you know.
Money and
And
power and influence. That's yeah. When
yeah, I
you put those
mean,
together, you can do whatever you want, and who's going to rebel against it?
with enough money you can buy power, and with that power you can get influence. Yeah, the merchant class, it's a damn shame. And it was also Emperor Augustus who started calling himself Pontifex Maximus, or the chief priest of Rome. So he was emperor, he was the chief priest, so he was in control of all the temples and later on declared, as I said, Divi Filius, so son of God. So he really, you know, set set the tone for all of it. Then Julius Caesar, you know, becoming a god, and then Diocletian being like, "Hey, that's pretty cool, but let me have that in life, not after death. It's a lot of power, and to have power is pretty nice, you know."
Right,
So,
right.
if I'm just gonna claim that, I am a god and I want you to treat me as a god and everything I do is sacred, everything I own is sacred, you know, it's pretty good. It makes you untouchable.
Well, it's interesting here across the pond, or however you like to say it. I mean, I don't mean that in a shitty way. I'm joking, but I'm just saying, we're in different continents. So over here in America, it's like, man, like I shit on both sides of politics, left and right, constantly. And my friends be like, "Oh, you said something bad about Trump. You're, a Democrat," and vice versa. He says, "Oh, you're a Trump, lover." And I'm like, "No, screw all of you guys." But it is interesting that we see with Trump, and honestly, we kind of saw it with Obama too, whether people want to look back on it or not. But Trump and Obama, so that's one of each side. We've really seen this like ramping up, kind of explaining, like you're explaining, like these people that are larger than life and they're so charismatic. Trump's selling Bibles and this and that. And you're like, wait a minute, dude. We're
Yeah.
getting into weird territories nowadays. So it's just
Oh,
reminded me of that. Like,
I mean, it's funny that you mentioned it like that's literally in my notes.
oh, no shit. Well, continue
Yeah,
then.
no, no, it absolutely is, and you're absolutely right. That's one of the notes that I made after our conversation on Instagram. Like it's always the charismatic leaders that people look up to the most, that are looked looked to as a savior,
Mm-hmm.
and that's, well, also how you get cult leaders,
Hell,
for
even look what
example.
people, one last thing, but even to like think what boomers think about Ronald Reagan, same kind of thing.
Mm.
Like but continue, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, how many cult leaders have presented themselves as saviors, or have said that they have the final solution, whether it be, I don't know, like literally aliens traveling on Halley's Comet, which is it's very creative. I'll say that. Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
they're the only ones that don't drink the Kool-Aid, but yeah.
yeah. No, but yeah, it's always the charismatic leaders, and like it's what you see in sports as well, right? Like it's always the guys, always the athletes that are, like the best talkers, who are like the best on the mic, or who can present themselves the best, that are the most popular. And it's something that I'll get to at the like the end of my notes, because I mean, celebrity worship,
Oh yeah.
oof, that's rough territory.
What, you're not happy Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift are getting married? Mr. Pfizer and Miss Tay Tay?
I really couldn't
I'm being
care less.
I'm being a smart ass. But yeah, exactly. Idol worship is insane.
Oh God, I mean, especially with the Swifties,
Hmm.
man, they are a rabid horde. K-pop fans, as well.
Similar, yeah.
And yeah, like you'll never guess like how the imperial cult, how that ended. It was with the rise of Christianity,
Ooh.
is when the imperial cult really started to die down. Um, no surprise. I mean, they found their savior, right? Um, I mean, he only became the true savior shortly after his death, because they believed that he was raised from the dead by God himself and exalted to divine Kyrios or divine Lord, and he was the right hand of God. So, therefore, he is our savior and literally our savior in the flesh because he made the ultimate sacrifice, and his return, his resurrection was a sign of the sacrifice being accepted.
Divinity. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I really don't know how that would work or how they figured, but like it only was strengthened through, of course, visions of the glorified Christ in heaven. It's always through visions, isn't it?
So is this one ever like the kind of like the rise of, I mean, I don't know exactly specific time. I don't know if you do, but like when the Vatican, the building itself was constructed, but like, is this when the rise of, like you're saying, like the Christianity slash Catholicism, whatever
Um,
tomato tomato in a way, but is that when that kind of started rolling in? Is like,
no, like this is pretty much um to put it in those words, like fresh after his death. So I'm
okay,
gonna
okay,
say
so
like
immediate. Okay, gotcha.
30, 33, let's say between 33 and 40 AD.
AD.
Yeah. Well before the centralization
Okay, gotcha.
of power, when his I think also when his teachings, his divinity, it was at first like really the cult of Jesus, and it was until way later, I think that might have been, I think around the Middle Ages, maybe a bit before that, when really the centralization of divinity, the centralization of power became a thing.
They corralled it in and made it into something. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah, and like got entangled even more with politics,
Mhm.
of course. Like you could literally buy your way into becoming the Pope, or it's how so many of the like the true old European nobility,
Like
like
modern
just
televangelists, but yeah,
yeah, but
little
with power, money, and connections. It's how, like for example, the Habsburgs, a family that's or a bloodline that still lives on. They had someone, or like a family member of theirs was the Pope at one time, not because he was so incredibly divine or holy, but because he had the right he had the right connections, and he was, of European noble blood. So hey, that's good enough.
the interesting thing about being the Pope is it's kind of just, I mean, it's almost just like an elected official. It's almost like a governor or a senator or
Mm,
something at that point, really, when you think about it. Like, it's just a guy that's been waiting in line for that position at a lower position in politics, basically, this whole time. And then,
yeah.
hey, now's your time for, the election campaign. You want to step up to the big spot. Kind of
I
weird how
mean,
that works.
no, but like really, that's basically how it is. Like I've heard stories about when they're like electing a new pope. Like, yeah, electing a new pope. How do you elect a pope? I mean, isn't he supposed to be, divinely appointed? Like he is the representation of God on earth. Like, how do you elect someone like that?
Like, shouldn't you know? There shouldn't be a vote on it, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, kind of like the Dalai Lama. He should like remember his past life and all of that. Like, that's something I don't know exactly how they do it with the Dalai Lama, but at least it's way more spiritual, way more divine than how they, elect the Pope, who is in control of what, 2, 3 billion Catholics. Um, he thought Swifties were bad for Catholics.
in a small
Uh,
sovereign block of Rome that's not even technically Rome, just kind of like Washington, D.C.
yeah,
But yeah,
the
anyways.
yeah, no, I mean the Vatican, like it is its own. country. It has its own army. I believe it even has its own coin. It is a sovereign state within Rome, which is absolutely crazy. But like during the election process, as you can imagine, like you're not gonna appoint someone else. It's like, hey, I like, I don't know, Jack or International Jacques. Um, I think he'd make a great new pope. It's like, no, fuck no, I'm the new pope.
Hmm.
So there's literally been fights over, like the election and who's going to be the new pope. Like, imagine that, a bunch of, mostly white man in like well into their 60s, well into their 70s, having a bar fight over, who's going to be the new pope.
A bar fight over who's going to be the most divine.
Yeah,
It's kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
ironic.
Like, yeah, like actual freaking fights happening. That's also why sometimes it just takes so long because everybody's voting for themselves. So yeah, nobody gets the majority vote. I mean, I would absolutely vote for myself. If I can become the new pope, hell yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Exactly.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Well, what do you
Um,
think? I mean, we just lost France. This is probably not on your notes whatsoever, but we just lost Pope Francis. And then, like, what are your thoughts on him, man? Because he seemed like a really controversial. I mean, maybe it's not just super recent, but we got a new pope coming in, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's a baseball fan." Burp dirt. Like, it sounds like American politics all over again. He likes hot dogs and beer, but I'm like,
I mean, the
Pope
new pope
Francis
is
seemed to kind of
American,
stir the
right?
pot a little bit over there.
Yeah, no, he was a very um woke pope. He really did not make himself popular with a large crowd. Um, I mean, I gotta say he definitely was a pope that fit the times, with the rise of wokeism, um, and how that, really made its way even well into the Vatican. And um I mean the Pope is just at this point is really just another one of those figures that is controlled. He's there's someone else behind the scenes like pulling the strings.
Perfect job. It's almost like I said, modern politics. He was in the right place at the right time to stir the right pot to
Yeah.
further narratives.
And I do believe that is how a lot of those elections for the new pope like they happen as well. Like you got to think of politics, you got to think of the, like who's in power at the moment, what the future plans are for mankind. And I think like especially now with Trump in power again and all the things that he is doing to have a American who is for sure going to be a Trump supporter. He may say he's not, but we all know he is in the Vatican. The most powerful religious position that you can have, and of course, so many politicians presenting themselves as good Christian Americans. Well, at the same time, you're supposed to have a separation of church and state.
Speaking something in my brain right now too, because on that same thought with Trump and this new pope, also think of Trump and Netanyahu and the idea of like Jewish people and Zionism. And he's also dabbling in the idea of being cool with the Catholics and the Catholicism. He's also selling Bibles and going after the Christian, groups and everything. I didn't really think about it until you were just saying that about like him being, he's gonna be like, oh yeah, we have the greatest pope ever, American. America builds the best popes, everybody knows this, but he's gonna do something stupid like that. But it's kind of weird that he's like almost corralling all the religions together. I hadn't thought about it until you kind of just said it like that a second ago.
I mean, for a one world order, you're gonna need a one world religion,
Mm.
right? So, if you get them all together and like kind of smash them into one, also under the guise of acceptance, of course. Like we gotta accept everyone. So, mankind is gonna be one big, mishmash of, I don't know, different religions, skin colors, backgrounds, whatever.
I'm with you. And
And
when you say that out loud, it's not you. I mean, when people say that out loud, people think it's like racist, but it's like, dude, can we not all be proud of our own separate heritage? Because some people get to be proud of it, and some people get called racist or
yeah,
xenophobic or homophobic, whatever term you want to throw. But I'm with you. It's like, can we not have a little bit of like originality before we all blend together and turn into a big Milano cookie?
yeah, yeah. No,
Put it
I mean,
bluntly. I mean,
I'm with you there. That's why it's very controversial term, and I'm sorry if this is gonna get your shit flagged, but that's why I call myself a folkish pagan because I do believe in putting my own people first.
mhm,
It's like I'm sorry, I'm Dutch. I'm blonde hair, blue eyed, 6 foot. I'm fucking Germanic as can be.
mhm,
You know, of course, I'm gonna choose my own people first. I have most with them in common. I am like them. I feel the deepest connection with them. So of course, I'm gonna put them first. I'm gonna put my own family first. Gonna put my own, like the people that I love, my own circles. Gonna put them first. Everyone else, I mean, if I get to you, I get to you. Awesome. But let
yeah,
me make sure that, me and mine are good first. And for some reason, that is very controversial. But if someone from Africa, when someone from the Middle East or whatever Asian country says it, it's like, oh, yay, good for you.
right. Well, it's like even in the idea of like, okay, I've got Germanic descent, I've got Scottish and Irish descent, and then on my mom's side, I've got some Native American and stuff. So I'm a little bit of a hodgepodge, but I'm not like super duper hodgepodge of what I'm saying. It's kind of narrowed down a little bit, but it's just from two different types of families sides, right?
Hmm.
But with like what you said, it's like, dude, I don't care what sounds controversial or whatever. It's like, so my show is called Talking Stitt, dude. It's just a play on words because we're talking shit, shoot from the hip. I'm drinking a couple beers and just being honest. So it's like if here in America, it's interesting where I'm not going to call out just black people. I'll call out Mexican people or whoever. I'll call out my own white people too. But hear me out. So if you're an African American and you're here in America and you're standing all Africa pride, Africa pride, Africa pride, you've never been there. Like, so you know what I mean? You are so disconnected from that. That's just this culture thing they've told you to think. Same with Latinos. You're proud to be in America and you don't want to be. And I'm not even going to get into the deportation shit, but I'm just saying, you're out there saying like you can't deport us, but I'm waving a Mexican flag, and it's like, well, which is it? You know what I mean? Like, it's a
Yeah.
little bit of like, let's have some honesty here, like, because we got a whole lot of hypocrisy going on. But if a white person says it, or if an English person or a German person, or then it's racist because of your skin color. You're like,
Yeah.
well, where's the fucking barrier?
No, and it's funny that you mention it with the African Americans and Africans themselves. Like from what I have seen and from what I've heard over the years, Africans don't claim the African Americans as like true Africans. It's like, okay, yeah, you're probably, you know, if we go back hundreds of years, related to someone who came from Africa, but you're not African just because you have a darker skin complexion and your ancestors, for as far as you know, because most what they go by is just skin color. It's like, oh, I'm black,
Like
therefore
me, yeah,
I'm African American. Cool. Have you done
I'm
your?
white, but I'm not Canadian. I'm with you though. Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah,
can't just
yeah,
be like,
no,
hey, same skin
exactly.
color, same team.
Yeah, you, we. I mean, like as you said, like I'll fucking call out everyone. I mean, like us whiteys, we do plenty of stupid shit.
Hey, I
You
live in
know?
Oklahoma, dude. White people smoke meth and steal copper. So there we go. There's the stereotype for white people.
I mean, it's fucking true. I mean, dude, I'm Dutch. I like milk. I like cheese. I mean, I'm a fucking stereotype Dutchy. I mean, just the one thing I don't do is smoke weed. I mean, not anymore, at
Yeah.
least. And I fucking loathe Heineken beer.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like to kind of get back to it, we went on a fucking
Dude, I'm
rant there,
sorry. I
but
get
no,
sidetracked, start thinking about shit when I hear things. Go ahead, man.
no, it's no, I love that. I love all those rabbit holes. I love getting lost in them. That's
Hmm.
literally what I've been doing for the last like 13, 15 years. Just
Hmm.
getting myself lost in whatever rabbit hole this time. Um, but also um the divination of Christ was completely new in Jewish monotheism. Like that was really the first time that one single individual was um, raised to, you know, like true divinity, to almost be a god. And that's where a lot of Christians will say that, you know, like Christ is God, but Christ is also the Son of God. So, I mean, like, who is he? Um, and like kind of skipping forward, I mean, there's a lot, um, there's a lot of shit that happens in between, but I kind of divvied it up in different chapters, if you will. It was Thomas Carlyle in his book. I had the title. I don't know it from the top of my head. It's a book that I really would love to read. In the 19th century, he claimed, or he said, that history is shaped by great men, and the veneration of such figures is an innate human trait essential for societal progress and moral uplift. And it's yeah, that's a whole lot of words. It's, you know, definitely a thinker, but yeah, it's true. Like if not for a, you know, a grander figure to look up to, what do we have to strive for? If not a, you know, a hero or the stories of a hero, you know, what do we have to fight for? What do we have to be good for? And you know, as I like said in the beginning with, you know, the larger podcasters, for example, I mean, how many of us like started our podcast because we wanted to be like the other one, you know, because we wanted to be the, I don't know, the new Joe Rogan, for example, you know, and that's also that's another thing. It's really coming from a place um of insecurity and kind of like self-loathing, because to be the new or the next someone else means that you don't value yourself as a individual, you know, like, and that's why I find it so much more powerful when people say that, oh, like I'm not looking to be the next this one or the next whatever person. I'm looking to be, you know, the first of me, the first of myself. Yeah, to definitely get to that level, but do it as me. And a lot of celebrities will actually kind of fight you for it when you say that. It's like, oh, he's the next with basketball, like for example, oh, you know, he could be the next Michael Jordan. No, no, let me be me. You know, yeah, let me get
It
to that
wasn't like
level, but
Michael
let me
Jordan.
be me.
Yeah.
Um, and it is also modern day hero worship, if you will. That is, um, it is a duality. It is such a duality. Like on the one hand, it is a intense admiration. You know, like like we mentioned with Taylor Swift, for example. Like her fans have really put her on that pedestal as like she is divine and whatever. But at the same time, there are also so many people, and the two great examples that I found were Frank Sinatra and Tiger Woods. Very controversial people, of course,
Hmm.
but they were like incredibly intensely admired. Frank Sinatra for his, his dancing, his singing, Tiger Woods for his, his golf skills, and of course, all the pretty ladies.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but at the same time, there's also such a strong desire to expose those people. And it's so weird because it's like we love you as gods. We have put you on this pedestal as, a god or like a modern day hero, but we need you to be human. We need you to be flawed. We need you to like be a god, but also be like us. It's just,
They put
I
you
mean,
up on the pedestal, but it's also like they've slowly been chopping some pieces at the bottom of the pedestal as it's building to where it's like at any point, all we got to do is stand on this one side and push, and you're nothing. Like we built you up, we can take you down in an instant.
exactly, exactly. And that's also kind of where we're going um into celebrity worship. I can do this from the top of my head. Like think back, for example, to Stan from Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
That song like is written from a fan's perspective, and Stan has really it's become a term of its own now. Like standing a celebrity, for example. But that is like a crazy example of celebrity worship, and especially of a parasocial relationship. Is like, you think you know who that person is based on, I don't know, like their lyrics or their public appearances. Like you've created this image of them, and you're like, hey, I'm just like you. Like for example, in Stan, like he also had a younger brother to take care of. I believe like his uncle also was a drunk and like all of that stuff. It's like, hey, I'm just like you. So therefore, we have a deeper connection, and I need you to acknowledge that connection. Because if you don't, like either you're gone or I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
Because, to not have that relationship to it's become part of their identity as well, which gets so incredibly dangerous. And it's also where we can kind of go into e-girls, OnlyFans. Um, like
Because they're
how
just
many?
regular girls. Yeah.
Yeah, but like how many times have you, seen or heard of a guy who, donates his entire life savings like to some e-girl Twitch streamer just to, have her acknowledge him.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen stories of like a guy who spent, oh God, what was it, like $90,000 on some OnlyFans model, and all he got in return was a picture with her. She didn't even like really acknowledge him, and he was like, "But like I have donated $90,000 like over I don't know like how long, like I'm your number one fan, I'm your number one subscriber, fucking acknowledge me." But I mean, they're making bank of you obsessing about them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the blame goes both ways too on that because they can be a subhuman piece of trash, but at the same time, like this other person, whether it's a guy or a girl or whoever, spends their $90,000 or gets a divorce or whatever, thinking, like the person that, oh, I bet you think the stripper likes you too, like the
Yeah.
idea that you live in that disconnect of reality is honestly like your own fucking fault too. You know what I'm saying? Like it's both parties, like it's not like you're meeting some like subtle church lady that you're like, oh, Martha seems like a great woman to settle down with or something. And then she screws you over. You're like, oh, okay, she fooled me. You're going for OnlyFans models that are putting stuff in their butthole for money. Like they're checking the comment section. Hey, what should I put it? It's like I think blame goes on both ways. But yeah, it's sad. This worship that people are just willing to throw their life savings away for somebody that could care less about you whatsoever.
And the funny thing is, with a lot of those like more popular OnlyFans girls, like when you're talking to them, when you're chatting with them, you're not chatting with them. They have hired like a team of
An
people.
administrator, yeah.
Yeah, like depending on how much they make, on how popular they are, they could have like five people, like in service on their payroll as, admins, as moderators to pretend to be them, to, talk to their fans. So they keep donating, of course. So, I hate to break it for all the guys. If you think you're talking to that hot chick, you might just be talking to a dude.
Might be talking to a dude, or it might be like, a 500-pound chick that's sitting on the other, the absolute opposite of what you're expecting. But yeah,
Or nowadays, AI bots.
yes, for
They've
sure.
become some of those have become incredibly sophisticated. Like
People are
the
addicted to
AI,
talking to him. Yeah.
I mean, shit, the AI girlfriend, like it was a meme at first. It's become a reality.
Well, that's also, I never saw this movie, but I like to reference movies a lot. But I remember there was a big controversy at the time just because of the actor that was in it, Joaquin Phoenix. But I mean, not like controversy on him, but just seemed like it was going to be a weird movie, a weird role for him to take. That movie, Her, where I think it's him and Scarlett Johansson, but he's like, he falls in love with his like I want to say like chatbot or something. I don't remember exactly, but this movie's like 7, 8 years old now.
Mm.
And now we see every 7 days another story of some guy like, I fell in love with my chatbot and I asked her to marry me and she said no. And I'm like, this is the reality we're in now.
Or the movie Transcendence with Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
That's
I
it's
know. I
it's
never saw that
also
movie. I know about it though.
oh
Yeah.
I've seen it a few times. It's a messed up movie. I mean, first of all, it's the tech singularity, of course, like uploading your consciousness onto a computer, uploading your consciousness
Ooh.
onto the internet.
Did you see the
Um,
Subservience or whatever with Megan Fox? She's like an AI robot, like housekeeper.
no, not
Check that
yet.
one out. It's really weird, but it's like,
I mean, Megan Fox is a housekeeper, AI housekeeper. I can only imagine the
yeah, exactly.
things.
It gets really
Uh,
sexual and really weird. But yeah. But go
yeah,
ahead. Yeah, same thought.
I, I bet. I mean, she is very sexual and very weird. Um,
Right.
but like it's also at the same time, it's a Transcendence is a story of, it's like a very sad love story because he died because he got poisoned, I believe. And his wife, of course, couldn't say goodbye to him. So when he said like, "Hey, upload my consciousness. We've been, experimenting with it. So, let me be like the first actual one." She, of course, does that because, it's her husband and she doesn't want to
Final
say
wishes.
goodbye. So, if that is an option for him to, live on, of course she's gonna do that. And she fully believes that's the the thing that is talking to her, that is fronting itself as her husband, is truly her husband. Whether it is or not in the movie itself, we're never really getting a clear answer, but like all the warning signs are there that it's just a very well sophisticated AI that they built themselves that is fronting as her husband and making use or really abusing the love that she has for him, because when he asks her to do things, she's not gonna say no because she thinks it's her husband. She's in love with him, husband and wife. The only thing is that he is now, I don't know, a consciousness on a supercomputer and all of that.
Like Ouija board shit almost. It's like, I'm your dead grandmother. Please. You're like, I don't know if you're really my grandmother. You're just saying that shit right now. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Same thing.
exactly.
Like,
But like, imagine it being your like being your wife, being your husband who you love so dearly and who is, poisoned and there is nothing you can do
mhm.
to to cure him. Like there is no cure for that poison and like you slowly but surely like see them, wither away and you're both tech nerds, you're both like tech bros or whatever the female version is of that. Um so yeah, of course you know, you're mad with grief, you're mad with love. So, of course, when your husband or whatever you think is your husband asks you to do something, of course you're going to do it. So Transcendence, I believe it was 2005, 2005, 2007
Okay.
when that movie came out. So yeah, like even back then they were,
Programming, man. That's the weird thing about like I like to talk about movies and stuff a lot because same thing before that movie you saw Minority Report come out in the early 2000s, and
mm,
then we flash forward 20 plus years later and you're like, holy shit. And then you see movies like Terminator 2, and then you flash forward 35 years later and you're like, holy shit, they live. You flash forward 40 years later, you're like,
oh,
okay, how many of these movies are we gonna like, how many coincidences don't fucking occur realistically? Like, so how many times are we gonna see like truth in the movies and lies in the media?
yeah.
Because that's what it's starting to look like.
I mean, They Live is oh man, it's a great film and like also
That
kind of a
final
nice
speech, dude, when they go to the where the right before they walk in the party room, and the
mm,
the guy with the bow tie is talking to him. That final speech is all you need to see in that movie in 2025 and be like, oh my God, this is a documentary. Like,
yeah. Roddy Piper, man, may he rest in peace. He's one of the greats. And it's a nice segue into like a more personal story because yes, I've been a victim of, those kind of things as well. I am definitely a wrestling fan.
me too.
Um nice. And it was as we know, like the WWE, they are still the biggest. It was at the times that was shit. When was it? I want to say like 15.
What pre
No,
WWE was WWE.
no. Anyway, back when Seth Rollins, when the Shield first broke up, I believe that's like, is that like 10 years ago already?
About 10 years ago. Was he with WWE at the time, or was he with like
Yeah, he
ECW?
was like he was
Okay, okay,
part of the Shield with Roman Reigns and Dean
right, okay.
Ambrose, now better known as John Moxley. Um, he portrayed the role of the architects because he set it all up and he didn't sell out. He bought in, which is clever.
Hmm.
And there was this heel faction, the Authority, which consisted of like the heads were Stephanie McMahon, who was the daughter of the former CEO
Vince,
Vince
yeah.
McMahon, and Triple H, who is now uh, head of WWE and married to Stephanie. And like he did all sorts of like heinous shit, and he was really just this conniving fucking heel, and gods, I hated him with a passion. And I couldn't make the distinction between Colby Lopez, the person, and Seth Rollins, the character, the wrestler. I couldn't make the distinction. I was fully
Enamored.
bought in.
You were bought into it, yes.
Yeah, and I hated him with a passion. I wanted to see him lose. I wanted to see him fired just like out of the WWE because he is fucking ruining it. He's wrecking the business. He is wrecking the company, and the authority and like I was so fucking mad about it. It's like there was this disconnect and it wasn't until like a few years later that I was like, holy shit, I totally bought into it. I was like, it was real. It was real to me.
Paradigm shift, dude. Yes.
Yeah, like that was crazy, and let's like it may like not be a kind of a parasocial relationship, if you will, but I I couldn't make the distinction anymore. I couldn't. I thought that well, what I saw on TV was reality. What I saw happening in the WWE, which is just very violent theater. Like
Emphasis on the last word, entertainment. Yes.
exactly. I thought that was reality. I thought that was real. And like that was back when I like already, knew some stuff when I was already, kind of
Already, you've been
figuring
old enough to
out.
recognize that certain things weren't what you thought they were with wrestling. And we get older and we start realizing you're like, okay,
Yeah,
but you
yeah,
still
no.
enjoy watching it because it's still entertaining. But continue, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, now I can just, watch it for the entertainment value and just, for some big boys just
Hmm.
fucking smashing into each other.
Right. Dude, my six and a
Uh,
half year old, he's obsessed with it. We took him to Kansas City, Missouri back in May, and he loves Jey Uso. That's his
nice.
guy. So
Yeah,
he's running
yeah,
around
yeah.
doing the yeet, yeet, yeet all the time. And so he hates Seth Rollins, even though my wife thinks Seth Rollins cute. I'm like, no, no man buns, babe. No man ponytails or hair down. No man buns. But dude, I
Uh,
get you. It's like that's a funny way to kind of bring this into like for a landing because whether it's Roman, bread and circus, whether it's watching our modern wrestlers nowadays, whether it's our politicians, all the above, man, it's all entertainment. And when we start to realize that, like, wait a minute, not to harp on Trump too fucking much, but I do a lot. But you got Trump who was in the Battle of the Billionaires with Vince McMahon that we're talking
yeah,
about.
he's
Back
a
with it was
WWE
him
Hall
and
of Famer.
Ricky Lashley and freaking or Bobby Lashley
Bobby Lashley. Yeah.
and Stone Cold was on
Yeah.
Vince's side, wasn't he? But anyways, and
Yeah, I believe so.
they hated each other prior or after that, anyways. But my point is, you see that like, wait a minute, that guy 20 years later is our president, and then who's our Secretary of Education, Linda
Linda
McMahon,
McMahon.
and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my god, and then you got Kane, Paul, what's his name? Oh shit, I can't.
Oh,
Glenn Jacobs. Glenn
Glenn Jacobs.
Jacobs,
Yeah.
he's a fucking like governor in
Mayor. Mayor
Minnesota
of
or something like that. I mean,
Mayor of Knoxville, I believe.
Knoxville, that's what it is. Yeah, yeah. But you know what I mean? You start to see that blend of reality and entertainment, like what you were just talking about. Like these people have a real name and then they have their entertainment name. And it's
Their
their
stage
job to
name. Yeah.
sell you on bullshit, and it's up to us to like decipher between it.
Yeah. And it's man, you're really hitting all the right points. This is like the last thing that I had, but it ties into so much. It's so crazy. And also into your background, gladiators.
Mm-hmm.
Like like we all think that like it was all just blood and like every single one of them like got killed in that arena in that Coliseum. No, that was like the WWE of the Roman era. It's like okay, boys, this is the story, this is how we're gonna do it, and remember, shallow cuts only. Okay, like we have a show next week.
Yes, we have a show next week. Yes, yes.
And like there were like gladiators who were immensely popular. Like if you've ever seen Gladiator with Russell Crowe, I refuse to acknowledge the second one.
I've never even
Um,
seen it. I'm not going to, but yeah, continue with the first one. The only one that exists in
yeah,
my
exactly. There were these there was
superstars. Oh, you kind of
like
froze up.
were oh
Sorry, you
yeah,
froze up for a split second.
I saw. But there were a couple of these gladiators who were, like really well known, who were like, famous or infamous or whatever, and they were, like brought in as the ultimate foe, the ultimate heel if you will, for our wrestling fans, and that was true. Like there were gladiators like that, and believe it or not, they had merchandise. Like merchandise was sold of those gladiators, like urns or plaques, or there have even been like glasses found with like inscription or the image of a certain gladiator on them.
Silhouette or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And um I never thought I'd make this connection, but the connection between gladiators and e-girls. Believe it or not, there is one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because back in those days, uh, gladiator sweat was sold as a aphrodisiac.
No shit. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And of course, processed in cosmetics and beauty products and all of that. Because I mean, I can understand, like, especially as a an aphrodisiac, like you have this big burly fighter, and this is also something. It's a little history note. Everyone always thinks that they were like incredibly ripped and whatever. No, they were big boys. They were more power lifter than bodybuilder. Let's,
Mhm.
more strongman than bodybuilder. They had a bit of a guts. I mean, you have to. You get, slashed so many times, even if they're
Exactly.
shallow cuts, you need a bit of like meat
Cushion.
that they can cut into. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Need a little cushion in there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I can imagine, you're like, hey, with like a bit of with some good marketing. I mean, marketing's everything. Um, like, yeah, you can sell it as an aphrodisiac. It's like, oh, this is the sweat of this very popular, strong, gladiator. Like, if you, I don't know, like drink this or douse yourself in it, trust me, you're gonna have to, beat the ladies off of you.
I know,
So,
right? It's like Sex Panther on was it Anchorman? Works 60% of the time, every time, or whatever. It's like just
yeah,
some kind of selling gimmick.
yeah, man. So, yeah, Belle Delphine and her bathwater is not even original. Like the gladiators did it first, which
Hmm.
is such a weird thing to say. It's such a weird connection to make ancient Roman gladiators and modern day e-girls.
Well, what
I
I
don't,
think it all connects to is just I mean, capitalism, sex sells, strength sells,
yeah.
fighting. It's that bread and circus. We see whether it's e-girls or we see NFL players, we see tough guys, we see blonde hair and big tits, and that's what people are mostly interested in too. I'm just saying, like, it's
Um,
the easiest way to see like those are pretty much the oldest professions on planet Earth. I don't know if it's a planet or not. I don't know what the fuck we live on. But I'm just saying it's pretty much the oldest professions is fucking and fighting. And so at the end of the day, like that's what people are weirdly idolized by. They're idolized by sex and strength. And
yeah.
I mean, here we are just repeating the past of Roman times and Greek times and every other culture's story pretty much always comes back in the same way, one way or another. You know,
Yeah.
your your lower parts get advantage of your brain. You're thinking with the wrong head, basically. And so but yeah,
Yeah.
it's all repeating, man. But dude, this has been a blast, man. I've got to speaking of wrestling, my 6.5-year-old has been bugging to go watch Monday Night Raw tonight. So I know you're on a different time zone than me, so
Yeah, yeah,
he's in the
yeah.
other room waiting. But man, remind everybody where they can find you, and I'll have you in the show notes and everything, anyways. But I'd love to have you back again. Everybody's totally invited back.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I'd love to come back. This was a great talk. I'm happy I got to do some research on this, make the weirdest connections that I ever made, I think. Um, like, have that for a tagline, like gladiators and e-girls, the connection between them. It's like, what?
Hey, you
But
know
yeah,
what? Might get the algorithm going. Might go with that.
that's true. That's true. No, you can find me on I think the best place to find me really is Instagram. It's instagram.com or just at Greyhorn Pagans. I am active on Telegram, t.me/SteinFox or t.me/Greyhorn Pagans for the tribes of Greyhorn Pagans. YouTube.com /@SteinFox is my channel where it's the main hub of the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. It's where I do live shows every Saturday, rune readings with a good friend of mine. That's always a blast. The standalone videos. And if that's too much to remember, just go to our website, www.greyhornpagans.com. Everything is on there, from the links where you can find the tribe, where you can find me, to other people that we associate ourselves with, other shows that we do, and all of that. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for having me, and I'd love to be back. I love talking about these things. I love doing the research on it and like blowing my own mind in the process.
Right. Well, dude, Time Fox. I loved it, man. What a great name, too. I love, like I said, I butchered it in the beginning. Call me Triple E Junior. You give me too many words, I start fucking jumbling them all together. Tribe of the Greyhorn Pagans. I nailed it that time, motherfuckers. All right, so check
Yes.
them out. Stein Fox. All your notes and links are going to be in the show notes, anyways. And dude, I've enjoyed the hell out of this. So enjoy the rest of, I guess, your Monday night at this point. And
Yeah, it's a quarter past 11, so about bedtime. But yeah,
well, you get you some bed, dude. We're gonna do this again when it's not so late. All right,
for sure.
Stitt-Heads. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. All his notes are going to be in the show notes or his links. I always fuck that up. But, anyways, all his links are going to be there. I will see you all next time and peace out, bitches. Bye bye.